again, everybody, I'm BrianTheBlue, and welcome back to Current Calamities, where I take a break from the past to look forward to the future with the games of the present. Well, another year, another 12 incredible games and things looked at. Of course, there were many more that I couldn't cover, but I think I saved the best for last. A remake to one of the best role-playing games ever.
Super Mario RPG. Nintendo finally got to revitalize Mario's first role-playing game with new updated graphics and so much more.
I'm not that big into RPGs, but I've always loved this game with a passion, so much so that I almost cried man tears when it was revealed in Nintendo's June Direct. No.
I own the original version on the Super Nintendo, and it's one of my cherished games in my collection. I just love its simplicity and uniqueness and everything it brings to Mario lore.
I can go into so much, but I want to save that for another video. Today, I just want to see how this version does justice to the classic that is Super Mario RPG. They dropped the subtitle, Legend of the Seven Stars, which is probably for the better. Nobody says the full name. They also got rid of the overly long introduction at the beginning, going straight into the title screen. You remember that in the original, where they spoil like most of the game before you even start it? I think there's a reason they did away with that.
Already I'm blown away with how amazing these cutscenes look. They're just so beautiful in showcasing the cliche plot of Bowser swooping in and kidnapping Princess Peach again, just a bit away from Mario's flat. But he springs into action and we chase him to Bowser's castle, skipping everything else and going straight for the end in the beginning. This is where we take control of Mario and learn how to play. There's guards to get by, which gives us the opportunity to figure out the turn-based combat system, which is very basic to understand. And all you really worry about right now is attacking and how to time your attacks and blocks, which the game helps you out with. Eventually you'll make your way to Bowser's throne room where he's keeping Peach high up and bound.
And when you've played this long enough, you know you don't attack Bow Wow. You aim for the chain, which will send Bowser to an early defeat. Or does it? Oh man, a round two? No, he's done for, of course.
Seems like all is ending well, but I'm afraid for our heroes this story is just getting started, as a giant sword comes crashing through a giant star and into the castle, which also sends Mario out and back to his flat. We try to go back, but the sword flaps his gums, causing the bridge to collapse, so the Toad tells us that we need to inform the Chancellor of all the goings-on, so off we go to Mushroom Way. So this part of the game really lets you get into the mechanics, both old and new, as you navigate around battling new enemy types and getting used to the controls like clockwork. There's plenty of enemies you can do combat with, or you could also avoid them as well, but you might miss out on experience and other items which we'll get to. You may also find items randomly on the ground or in these chests.
Man, it feels so good to go around these areas with so much more detail and also see how Toad gets himself into trouble. Must be easy to take up. I mean, more so than an adult deer. We'll have to rescue Toad on our journey to the Mushroom Kingdom, which we will be awarded for. This also means we get our first mini-boss encounter with some Hammer Bros. I made his hammer angry. There's some possible innuendo here. Now I'm gonna be...
Now we've made it to the Mushroom Kingdom, and before we get to the important matters, let me show you what you can do in a town. Of course, you can talk to the residents, which will provide some insight or silly banter. You could also purchase items and equipment in the shop, or take a quick rest at an inn, which will restore your health. There could also be a secret or two hiding about, like the ever-so-secretive frog coins.
There's so many things to collect and find in this game. Bet you didn't know about this in Peach's room. Used to be XXX in other regions. Saucy. Mario told the Chancellor what has happened thus far the only way he could, through pantomiming. Probably would have made the movie better than hearing Chris Pratt.
We come to the only conclusion that we must take care of this newfound threat as well as find the princess wherever she may be now. So we go about doing this, but of course it wouldn't be a true RPG without something else getting in the way of the main quest. In this case, our new buddy Mallow got his money stolen by that purple croc, so we agreed to get it back for this frog. Frog?
I mean, they could be going for something different, but he looks more like popcorn. Even the game questions this.
Regardless, he's the first member to join our party, which means he's a new friend to assist in combat, which is both a blessing and a curse. In theory, having another party member could add double damage, but in reality, Mallow is as weak as a puff cloud. He's primarily used as a health aid, as his special moves reflect as much, but the more battles you do, the more experience you'll gain, which means you can level up your abilities and watch your friends dance.
Or there's the odd occasion where you find a star and mow them all down.
This point is where the game will test you on your RPG capabilities and basic strategy, as enemies will be a little tougher and we have to contend with a couple of bosses, like Croco and Clay Morton back at the castle. Yeah, while you were after the Croc Thief, the kingdom gets overrun by shy guys on pogo swords.
Which, sure, anything can exist in Mario canon. They did debut on ostriches.
All of this will be the perfect test for you to figure out how to use your given abilities most effectively to find the weakness of your enemies and act on it accordingly. And only then will you come into possession of what the original subtitle alluded to, one of the 7 star pieces.
Having these little cutscenes add so much more to these moments. They really knocked it out of the park to make these moments more grand, and they are. Even if Mallow was there.
Though we have this star, our goal remains the same. We have to get the princess back, cause we can't function without her. Mallow suggests seeking advice from his grandpa, so we're going to do just that. Things get really interesting as we head into Kuro sewers. It's almost like a maze down there, as you can go a number of ways around and encounter a plethora of new enemy types.
If Mario is the plumber, he must be well familiar with all these rats and spooky things and evil treasure boxes.
One of the new things introduced to combat is the gauge move. When you rack up a good chain of attacks, you'll fill this meter, and pressing minus will allow you to grab a random item that could potentially come in handy if you're in a bind.
I didn't have many issues with combat. I actually went a long time with the meter full and not ever using it. Not even when I faced this jawless dog chicken?
After that boss, the game decides to throw another new thing at you in the form of mini-games. These do come around every once in a while, and the first was a 2-for-1 deal as we're going down the waterfalls collecting coins, then we find ourselves balancing briskly on a barrel on the flowing river doing about the same.
It's a fun diversion, especially after the trouble found in the sewers, and it diverts us from the gut punch reveal that Mallow is not a tadpole? Damn! Who says Mario isn't known for the twists? I thought for sure the princess would have been in the World 5 castle.
May seem like I'm skipping around, but I'm all too familiar with most of this game, and I am rushing to perhaps the best part. Somewhat breezing past Rose Way, as there isn't much besides finding Bow Wow and his minions near the end. I did encounter special enemies, however, and they were a bit annoying if they're the Shy Guys, as they love to sing their lullabies.
Did I win?
We arrive in Rosetown, where it seems the residents there have a case of stiff arrow syndrome. We take cover in the inn, where we get into playing with a kid toad, and he brings out his own doll, Gino.
You have no idea how long fans like us have waited for Gino to be acknowledged again. He was the best and most OP characters to come out of this game, but he was more of a Square creation than a Nintendo one. I'm still surprised we're getting them anyway, as this game was made by a Square Enix affiliate. How does licensing work anymore?
I don't know, but the kid knocks us out accidentally, giving us a free stay, so that's a win, I suppose. And at the dead of night, a presence comes to take possession of the Gino doll. Reason being? Well, we'll find out This is where I pretty much called it, as I didn't want to show too much off too quick. Not that I was getting towards the halfway point or anything like that, but I figured this would be the best place to stop. I've already seen enough to make me think this will be the best faithful recreation of the game anybody could ask for, and I'm so excited to see what it looks like updated and try to notice the little changes that were made. Of course, I wanted to get this far so I can see how they did this track justice.
If you've never heard or played this game before, most of you should be familiar with the legend that is this piece of music. With all the remixes and lyrical takes on it, it's just the perfect track, and yes, it takes me back. Back to when I was a fetus. So with all that being said, what's my overall opinion?
I never expected to see this game ever get a remake or remaster of any kind. I was satisfied with it being a Super Nintendo gem only, as I had a copy and didn't need to worry about forking over the bigger bucks it's going for these days. But the surprise of that direct made me super happy that a whole new generation was going to experience the perfection that is this game. Super Mario RPG is a solid return to glory for the game that started it all for Mario in the role-playing genre. Now with an upgrade in graphics and UI design, it made what was old seem like new all over again, and I couldn't be more impressed and thrilled. There really isn't anything bad you can say about it. The only thing I really notice is the frame drop every time you go into battle, but other than that, everything has worked as it should, and I'm just brought back into a world I love so dear. I hope this sells well and encourages more remakes. We are getting the Thousand Year Door HD, but I hope it leads to more. I could think of another Square Enix and Nintendo game that would benefit from a port, and it'd be much better than any other sports game Nintendo has on their current platform. And while we're on the subject of Paper Mario, why not bring the other two into HD too? Super is an underrated classic, and I've yet to play the original. We can have the whole trilogy and pretend the other games after them don't exist. That'd be great. So what do you think? Do you agree with me, or have your own thoughts? Let me know by leaving a comment. If you like what you see, like the video with those thumbs up. If you think anyone else would like this vid, share it around. And if you want to see more of me, this show, and others, hit the subscribe button. I'm BrianTheBlue, thanks for watching. I'm going back to the past, and until next time, I'll see you in the future.